Look at this headlight. It is so yellow, so thick with oxidation, that it looks like a block of old cheese glued to the front of the car. You can barely see the bulb behind it. Now watch. One spray onto a paper towel, one single wipe across that plastic, and in 3 seconds the yellow is gone. Not faded, gone. Melted off the headlight and onto the rag like grease off a hot pan, leaving behind crystal clear glass-like plastic underneath. No sanding machine, no drill attachment. No 400 grit, 800 grit, 1500 grit, 2000 grit wet sanding sequence that destroys your Saturday afternoon. 3 seconds and a $1 can of something every single American already has in their garage or their kitchen cabinet. The auto detailing industry spent billions making sure you never figured this out. Today, that ends. Welcome to the buried blueprint. I am going to show you the exact chemical reaction that the $5 billion auto detailing industry has quietly demonized, dismissed, and buried under mountains of expensive sanding kits and polishing compounds for the last 30 years. If you believe that corporations hide cheap solutions to protect their profits, hit that subscribe button and the bell right now, because what you are about to see will make you furious the next time you walk past the car care aisle at Walmart. But first, let me show you the scam you have been living inside of. You have seen these kits. They are everywhere. $30, sometimes $40, sometimes $60 for the quote-unquote professional grade version. You open the box and what is inside? Sheets of sandpaper, multiple grits, a foam drill attachment, a bottle of UV sealant, and an instruction sheet that tells you to tape off your entire headlight, wet sand through 5 stages of progressively finer grit, then buff, then seal, and then hope it lasts longer than 6 months before the oxidation comes right back, because you did not apply the UV coat perfectly. The kits sell you the promise of clear headlights and deliver 3 hours of hard physical labor on your knees in a parking lot. That is the business model. Sell you sandpaper and tell you the work is the solution. Here's the part the auto detailing industry hides from you. Sanding does not remove the oxidation. It removes the plastic. You are literally grinding away the surface of your headlight to get below the damaged layer. That means every time you sand, your headlight gets physically thinner, the lens gets weaker, and because you are now exposing fresh, raw polycarbonate to UV sunlight with a thin UV sealant as your only protection, the oxidation comes back faster than it did the first time. You are not restoring your headlight. You are slowly destroying it while paying for the privilege. The chemical approach does not grind anything. It dissolves the dead layer and leaves the healthy plastic completely intact underneath. That is not a small difference. That is the entire ballgame. Now, the solution is something so common, so cheap, so completely unpatentable that no corporation on earth can lock it behind a brand name and charge you $30 for it. Before I tell you exactly what it is, I need to show you something important. This DEET trick is one entry in a much larger library of buried chemical and mechanical secrets that the home repair, automotive, and survival industries have spent decades hiding from the average American homeowner. I have compiled dozens of these classified techniques into the complete buried blueprint vault. The link is in the description right now. Chemical rust removal for pennies. Waterproofing solutions that outperform $300 products. Wood hardeners that contractors do not want you to know exist. It is all there. Go check it out after this video. But stay right here, because exactly how you apply this changes everything. If you do it wrong, you will damage your paint. The safety step I am about to give you at the end is non-negotiable. Here is what melts yellow oxidized polycarbonate on contact. Bug spray. Specifically, any bug spray that contains DEET, N,N-diethyl metatoluamide. That long chemical name is the ingredient listed on the back of every standard mosquito repellent aerosol in America. Off, repel, cutter. Any off-brand version at a dollar store. If the label says DEET, it works. A can cost between $1 and $3 and contains enough active ingredient to restore a dozen sets of headlights. But watch closely what happens next, because this is where the science gets real. Your headlights are made of polycarbonate plastic. When that plastic is brand new, it has a factory-applied UV protective coating on the surface. Over years of sunlight exposure, that UV coating breaks down and the UV rays begin hitting the bare polycarbonate directly. The UV radiation causes a chemical reaction called photo-oxidation. The top microscopic layer of the plastic literally burns at a molecular level. The polymer chains in that surface layer break apart and cross-link in a degraded structure. That degraded structure is yellow, brittle, hazy, and optically opaque. It scatters light instead of transmitting it. That is why your headlights look like frosted glass instead of clear lenses. That degraded layer is blocking up to 50% of your headlight beam from reaching the road. Now here's what DEET does that no sandpaper ever can. DEET is a powerful chemical solvent and plasticizer. That means at a molecular level, it breaks the bonds holding polymer chains together. When DEET contacts the oxidized surface layer of your headlight, it immediately begins dissolving the degraded polycarbonate structure. The dead, cross-linked, photo-oxidized plastic literally liquefies on contact. It does not grind away the healthy plastic beneath. It targets only the compromised, chemically altered surface layer. When you wipe the rag across the lens, you are not sanding. You are lifting the dissolved oxidation off the surface like wiping wet paint off a window. The healthy, transparent polycarbonate beneath was never touched. It was just buried under a dead crust that is now on your rag. The chemical companies do not want you to know this next part. DEET has been publicly documented as a polycarbonate solvent since the 1980s. Military contractors discovered that DEET-based insect repellents would literally melt the polycarbonate lenses on military eyewear and optical equipment when soldiers applied bug spray near their faces. That is a documented, studied, published chemical reaction. The detailing industry knew. They have always known. But DEET is a naturally occurring compound that cannot be patented. You cannot build a $30 kit around something anyone can buy at a dollar store for 99 cents. So the industry built the sanding kit instead, marketed it as the professional solution, and buried the chemical reality under enough YouTube tutorials and shelf space that most people never asked the obvious question. Until now. Here is exactly how you do this. Follow every step precisely. Step 1. Go buy a can of bug spray. It must contain DEET. Check the active ingredients label on the back. Standard concentration is between 25 and 30% DEET. That is more than enough. You do not need the maximum strength 100% DEET formulas. Off Deep Woods, Repel 100, Standard Cutter Spray, any dollar store brand that lists DEET as the active ingredient. Spend $1 or spend $3. It does not matter. They all work the same on polycarbonate. Step 2. Do not spray the bug spray directly onto the headlight or anywhere near the car. This is critical. DEET will damage automotive paint on contact. It will strip clear coat. Spray the DEET onto a paper towel, a shop rag, or a microfiber cloth. Hold the cloth away from the car, spray it generously, and let the cloth absorb the liquid. Now you have a controlled applicator. Step 3. Apply the DEET-soaked rag firmly to the yellow headlight surface. Use moderate pressure and wipe in straight lines or circular motions. Watch the rag. Within the first 3 seconds, you will see the rag turning yellow as the oxidation dissolves and transfers off the plastic. Continue wiping until the yellow stops transferring. If the oxidation is very heavy, refold the rag to a clean section and apply a second pass. The headlight will clear from opaque yellow to crystal transparent right before your eyes. Step 4. This step is not optional. Immediately after the headlight is clear, wash the entire lens thoroughly with dish soap and water. Use a sponge or cloth. Scrub the surface and rinse completely. You must neutralize and remove all remaining DEET from the headlight surface. Here is why. DEET does not stop working the moment the dead layer is gone. It will continue attacking the healthy polycarbonate underneath if you leave it sitting on the surface. Washing with soap and water stops the chemical reaction instantly and preserves the integrity of your now restored headlight. Do not skip this step and do not delay it. Step 5. Optional but strongly recommended. After washing and drying the headlight completely, apply a layer of car wax or a UV protective spray coating over the lens. The factory UV protection is long gone on an oxidized headlight. A simple coat of wax creates a temporary barrier against UV and slows the reoxidation process significantly. This step adds months to your results. That is it. 5 steps. 1 can of bug spray that costs less than $1 at most dollar stores in America, and results that are, in most cases, indistinguishable from a brand new headlight lens. Now let me show you the math that the detailing industry prays you never do. A professional headlight restoration at a detailing shop runs between $100 and $150 per car, sometimes more at dealerships. A $30 DIY sanding kit requires 3 to 4 hours of physical labor to produce results that fade in 6 months. The DEET method costs between $1 and $3, takes between 5 and 10 minutes per headlight, leaves the underlying plastic completely intact, and produces the same optical clarity as a new lens. The industry is not selling you a better product. They are selling you labor disguised as a solution. And they built an entire product category around the idea that you need their tools, their compounds, and their instructions to achieve a result that a dollar store bug spray achieves in seconds. They built that product category deliberately, because a patent on a sandpaper kit generates revenue. A naturally occurring solvent chemistry that every American can access for pocket change generates nothing. So they buried it. They dismissed it as a myth on forums. They called it damaging. They trained detailers to call it unprofessional. And they kept selling sanding kits. You now know the chemistry. You now know the process, and you will never buy one of those kits again. Hit subscribe. Share this video with every person you know who has driven around with yellow headlights because they thought they needed to sand them. Every view this video gets is one more person who escapes the sanding kit scam. This knowledge spreads only if you move it. Subscribe, share it, and check the Complete Buried Blueprint Vault in the description for dozens more chemical and mechanical secrets exactly like this one. The next blueprint opens soon, and what's inside is even